July 31st, last day of July. This is the Automotive State of the Union. I'm Paul J. Daly. Kyle Mountsier is sitting right here next to me. And today we're talking about, guess what? Tariffs, EVs, and ChatGPT.
No. You had me there. I thought you were going to say blockchain.
No, it's one of those things, this era, I think we're going to look back on it and we're like, what did we talk about in those 6 months? Well, tariffs, EVs, and ChatGPT.
That was it. And the
That
reality
actually
is,
summarize the year.
okay, you're an extravaganza. Don't forget, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget. That's just like, that's the punchline of every single line, right? It's like, and
Yes.
tariffs. But here's what's so interesting to me about this is the pace of change of each of those requires the conversation. And that's something that I don't think we've seen. Like I think back to 2 years ago when we were talking about, the UAW stuff. It was like every day felt slightly different, but it got
Kinda the
old
same,
after
but
time.
yeah.
And you're going to recognize this even today as we talk through these things is the pace of change. And this is what I think what's so interesting to me is this is what everybody is dealing with. This is what every consumer, every client, every business interaction, everybody's trying to consume and spit out what's happening on a daily basis and try and function within that reality. So that's why I think it's important for us to talk about.
Ben and I were talking about this yesterday, and we were just talking about what can we do to get people to pay attention to the level and the velocity of change that's happening because we're so busy, like we should be, in the daily life,
tough.
on the front lines. Service drives full of things. Like the last thing I can think of is keeping up with the daily pipeline of announcements. We were like, we're subscribed to a dozen AI newsletters, and every day they're full of new things.
Easily.
Not regurgitated things from the week before, literally new things every single day.
Net new stuff. I'm on an email for a software provider that we have that 6 days in a row, not an event, not like GPT, 6 days in a row, they've sent new features launched. Launched in their app, new features, 6 days in a row.
Because they're moving at the speed of AI.
It's unbelievable.
They're using all this code, right? It used to take them 3 months to build a new feature. Now it takes them 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they'll beta test it.
I built 7 new features in a Vibe coded app yesterday.
We might actually have an app for you soon, all you fellow content creators. We'll see. But let's talk about some news. Ford Motors bracing for a tougher financial year as U.S. tariffs on vehicles, steel, and aluminum are cutting deeper than expected. Shares dipped 3% after the automaker raised its tariff cost estimate by $500 million. Q2 results were down $800 million from tariffs, less than GM's $1.1 billion hit. Whoa. So they're doing a little bit better than GM. Full year tariff costs now projected at $3 billion, up from $2.5 billion. Ford seeing 80% of U.S. sales from domestic production, cushioning some impact, right?
Wow.
Well, 80% of our sales are coming from vehicles we made here, tariff proof. CFO Sherry House said tariffs on Mexico and Canada stayed higher for longer than expected, with steel and aluminum levies adding to the strain. Friend Jim Varley, CEO, says, quote, "We see there's a lot of upside depending on how the negotiation goes with the administration." There you go. This is optimistic.
Yeah, from
CEO.
a stock perspective, this is good news because they are getting this barrier of protection around domestic purchasing and sales from domestic production. But that's also concerning, knowing what we know about the Chinese EV race and their consumption of global, market penetration. But hey, there's still this concern, and it's an ever bending concern on whether or not the tariffs are going to impact some of these manufacturers long into the future, whether they're going to be able to change the way that they're existing or producing fast enough to keep up with the demand of an administration that seems to change tariff projections every week.
I saw a story, it's not here, but it was basically someone noticing a pattern of what Ford does when they're getting nervous.
Oh.
It was very interesting. You know what they do?
What?
They borrow money.
Uh-oh.
So they borrowed $3 billion,
Yep.
or they kind of opened up a new line of credit.
Yes.
$3 billion. And he says that's an indicator, especially for a company who's sitting on $200 billion in cash.
Golly.
Yeah, and so it was just an interesting little, and is that the reason? If not, he said, but that's what he's noticed the pattern has been throughout the last decades. When he sees them being a little uncertain, they actually start to open up new lines.
I bet you if you asked a bunch of Ford dealers whether or not they're nervous, they're not. It's August, fam.
Oh yeah,
Let's go.
ready to go, ready to go. Speaking of going, nailed it.
Nailed it.
While consumer EV demand has cooled, the commercial EV market is charging forward with fleet operators driving massive growth. This shift presenting new opportunities and challenges for dealers, utilities, of course, and policymakers. So basically, commercial EV registrations, which is class 3 through 8 vehicles, soared 274% to nearly 25,000, led by, you see them in your neighborhood, delivery vans,
For sure.
utility trucks and big rigs. Class 2 EVs used for work jumped almost 70%, while light consumer EVs dropped 2%. So Amazon running already 25,000 of those Rivian vans. They're building its own charging network of 32,000 stations because it takes a lot of juice to charge those things.
Yep.
Dealers are still a critical link in this, but many fleets reporting visiting stores where sales teams weren't ready to support EV conversations. So when that happens, they go direct to manufacturer.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a bad thing for dealers. CalStart's Jacob Richard said state incentives and programs are key. Quote, when looking at total cost of ownership, you kind of need to have those upfront incentives in the near term.
This is one of those we told you so moments. Like we've been talking about the commercial EV adoption for the last two and a half years.
The most practical first adoption.
It is the most practical, and it's concerning to me that there are these groups, these commercial entities that are going to dealers and feeling like they're not well supported, not well understood, that they're not ready for what's coming. This, I would say, if you have a commercial division, help. And to be clear, like most commercial divisions have been built on
relationships,
great relationships, great diesel knowledge, great understanding of
upfitting, which is the same,
like
either way.
upfitting, all these types of things
too, actually.
You have to retrain that department to understand EV metrics, understand the buying power, the tax considerations, the lease,
the long-term savings,
the long-term savings, the savings of, even like what it looks like to care for that vehicle, like vehicle maintenance, and understanding that over a 3 to 5 year time period, understanding the depreciation models of these EVs, deprecation of the battery, all of that stuff needs to be in place, because I'm sure that if you got with your manufacturer, if you got with Ford, if you got with any of these and said, hey, look, we're prepared to deliver commercial EVs, like in a region, in a broad region, you would be a go-to.
Man, I think Robert Blessing needs to get in on this conversation too, because you think about like the backside of it as well. Just like people need an option
and the tax
to charge
credits for businesses putting
for solar. We're just building the universe here,
come
folks.
on.
Don't mind us over here.
Speaking of building a universe.
Segue.
All right, so OpenAI is taking a swing at the quote CheatGPT label with a major update designed to help, not hand out answers. The new study mode in ChatGPT aims to guide students through learning rather than doing the work for them. Study mode is now live for all users with ChatGPT Edu access coming soon. It uses Socratic questioning and scaffolded responses to build understanding. It's like your own little tutor in a box. It offers personalized support and quizzes for deeper learning. Students are calling it a live 24/7 all-knowing office hours.
Okay, first of all, if they could figure out how to build one of these things that helps with the admissions process, that would actually be the thing that would make a college money, because the admission process at every college
It's terrible.
is the worst ever.
Period.
I'm just putting that out there. Secondly, this is probably going to be the least used ChatGPT feature ever, because
Has to be.
how many students out of 100 do you think are going to be like, you know what, I really should learn something instead of get this done so I can go play Fortnite?
That's right.
Says 0 students ever. But I do think if they can deploy this in controlled environments within educational apps.
Within the Ed app, yeah.
Because it's, if you think about Notebook LM, right? These educational tools, like, let me help you actually think through the problem.
Yep.
And for people who actually want to learn, this is great. I think the jury's still out. Like, are students actually going to tick it off or just go over to another version of ChatGPT and answer the questions? But it's an important development because I think it will be deployed in right ways, but thinking that students are going to find the fastest way to get the work done.
Well, and this is one for students, but I would say for someone that is actually curious, an entrepreneur, someone that's like really trying to think and solve problems, this would be a great thing to, I can see this coming into play when it's like, okay, use let's say GPT deep research, and then go back and understand it better, right? When someone needs to critically think outside the box, like someone that is curious, someone that is entrepreneurial, this is where it could stir up some of those things. And so I would think of it for you, especially if you're a business owner, you're thinking critically about the next moves that your business needs to take, like studying something by forcing yourself into learning could be a really unique way to use this.
Somebody
Is
has
it
to
just
want
meant-
to learn. I
Exactly.
think it could be great for that. But, for the, like, hey, this is how we're going to solve kids just cheating.
No.
I mean, it's a good
try.
It's a good headline.
Good try.
Until the
It's a
commenters
great
get a hold of it.
headline.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's
Until
all.
us.
I think that's all we have for today. Listen, we're so glad that you're on this journey of paying attention to what's going on in the industry. In the end, it's all got to equal one thing: taking care of the people. If we take care of the people, we'll be fine regardless of technology and tariffs. We'll see you here tomorrow, everybody.